If you want to attack successfully in chess, then you need to know the rules of engagement. In this video, I'll share 6 attacking chess patterns, which if you use and apply, will lead to more brilliant victories. Rule number 1 is you can only sacrifice from a position of strength. What this means is you need to have your forces already in position before a sacrifice can work. We're going to illustrate this with a position from Agreste versus Williams 2004. It's white to move here, and black has a threat. Just to show the threat, if it were black's move, black is planning rook takes h3 check, and after the forced capture of the rook, queen takes h3 is checkmate. So white has got to do something about this. And in the game, white blundered with rook to d1. The correct move here, incidentally, was rook to f1, but it's not easy to defend in such a position. But anyway, after white made the mistake, black still has to find the correct follow-up. And I think many people watching this video would be tempted to sacrifice anyway, right? You got the queen in position, you got the rook in position, so let's make the same sacrifice that you were planning earlier. But the queen by itself is not going to be able to checkmate the white king. The queen needs help. And that's why, in the game, black played the best move, which is knight to f6, bringing in reinforcements. And now black's attack is going to be overwhelming with the addition of the knight. Let's see a few more moves. Queen to e1 was played, trying to bring the queen back in defense, but now the sacrifice on h3 does work because the knight is already in position. This is the key point that I want to get across in this lesson. Black takes on h3, the king moves, and now the knight is already in position to jump into g4. A very clever move because the knight can't be taken, because then there's checkmate on g2. Don't forget about the light squared bishop in the corner too, which can also participate in the attack if lines are opened. But if the knight is not taken, well, then the threat is going to be queen to h2 check with mate to follow. And for that reason in the game, white played queen to f2, but black simply took the queen and went on to win with the extra material. But the key point here is that in such a situation, you can't make a sacrifice like this without having enough pieces in position already. That's why bringing the knight in first was correct here, to make the sacrifice work later. If you enjoyed that last example, then click subscribe for more. There's plenty more great chess content coming up in the pipeline from me. Now on to our second rule, which is also to do with sacrificing, and it is that when sacrificing, you need to have the correct execution, not just the correct idea. To illustrate this, we've got a position from Tarrasch versus Eckhart, 1889. And if you notice here, black's pawn on h7 is being attacked 3 times by white, by the knight, by the bishop, and also by the queen, and black is defending only twice, with the knight and with the king. Black can't add an extra defender here. So if black doesn't want to allow that pawn to be captured, there's only really a couple of options. One of them is h6, but this leads to checkmate, starting with bishop to h7 check. If the king steps aside, then the knight flies into g6 with decisive effect. And if the bishop is captured, well then the queen comes in, and that's checkmate as well. So in the game, black played g6. And I think experienced attacking chess players would see this formation with so many white pieces around the black king and be considering a sacrifice on g6. The question is, how do you do it? With the knight or with the bishop? And this is what I'm trying to get across in this lesson. The way that you sacrifice here matters a great deal. If you sacrifice with the knight, white sees almost all of their advantage disappear. Black takes back, and although it looks a bit scary for the black king, there's nothing immediate for white here to score a knockout blow. The correct way is to take with the bishop, because in this case it results in the white queen coming in. If you compare this position with the other position, the white queen is obviously much more scary on g6 than the white bishop. And in just a couple more moves, we saw that the black king had no defense. Queen to h8 is coming next. So Remember this. When you see the possibility of a sacrifice, you need to still be accurate. Even if you have the right idea, the right execution matters a great deal as well. Rule number 3 is to not retreat if calculation proves that you don't need to. This is a crucial mindset shift which you must make if you're going to become a great attacking chess player. Now, if you're looking to improve your attacking chess, and indeed improve all aspects of your game, then click the link in the description below. Check out the Road to 2000 Chess Mentorship Program, which has already helped students like you boost their results in the game. Now, our model game here is Szabo versus Kotov 1946. It's black to move here, and white's knight on g5 is aggressively placed. And for this reason, black played h6 to try to kick this knight away, but this turns out to be a blunder. And I think it's at this moment that you can really tell the difference between a strong chess player and a lower rated chess player. The lower rated player would see the attack on the knight and would move it out of harm's way. But the first thought of a strong attacking chess player would be, well, what if I leave the knight there? What if I don't retreat? This is what I'm trying to get across in this lesson. Because that's what happened in this game. White left the knight on g5 and instead played the stunning knight to d5. Now, this takes advantage of a checkmating pattern. The thing is that this knight on f6 is responsible for guarding the h7 square. So knight takes d5 isn't possible due to queen to h7 mate. Taking the pawn also fails because then white is able to capture the knight. Now the queen is attacked and checkmate is also threatened. And yeah, basically black is busted here. In the game after knight to d5, black did take the knight and then tried this intermezzo, but after all of the forcing moves, starting with capturing the bishop, which still has the threat of checkmate, g6, okay, now white is forced up to give up the queen, but with these trades, white is able to establish a winning endgame, up the exchange. Just seeing the possibility of surprising moves like this is already going to boost your results in chess. When your aggressively placed piece is attacked, try to think for yourself, what if I don't retreat it? What if I leave it there and play something else instead? Rule number 4 is that a check is not always the best move when attacking. To show this, we've got another game of Taras's. This time he's facing Mises in 1916. It's white to move here, and I think the first move of white's is fairly obvious. It's to capture this knight, which was responsible for guarding h7. So that's what happened, and black took back, of course, and now white has the choice of either capturing with the bishop or with the queen. But the instructive thing here is that the strongest move is neither of those options. Played in the game instead was the very classy queen to h6. The thing about either of the captures with the queen or with the bishop is that it drives the black king towards relative safety. The king's going to end up on e7 via f8. And surprisingly, the king on e7 will be reasonably safe. Like if you give another check, all of a sudden it might end up being black who's the one attacking, right? These open files might actually benefit the black rooks, attack the white king. So amazing how quickly the tables can turn with just a couple of inaccurate moves. But if the problem is that the king is going to escape via f8 and then e7, well then you can think that way and cut off the king's retreat. And now bishop takes h7 next move is going to come with far greater force. Now in the game, black played f5, blocking this diagonal, but white was able to continue attacking, starting with rook to e3, bringing the rook in towards g3, and if white is able to do that, then it's going to be game over. So black tried to defend by capturing the pawn on d4. Now this dark square is being defended by the queen, but then with c3, it really forced resignation because there's nothing really that black can do at this point to stay on this diagonal, defending this key square. So that was where black resigned. But the follow-up is not so much what I wanted to share here. It's more about this move here, this queen to h6 move. If you can start making moves like this, which cut off the king's escape, rather than capture material with check, then you know that you're really becoming a strong attacking chess player. Attacking rule number 5. 2 lines of attack are much more difficult to defend than a single line of attack. I'm going to illustrate this with a sideline from one of my own games, which I played online in 2023. Now this is a very sharp position. We've got opposite side castling. And in such situations, it's usually all about opening lines towards the opponent's king. Now you'll also notice that the white knight on g5 is under attack. And this is a good moment to reinforce one of the earlier lessons in the video, which is not to retreat if calculation shows that you don't need to. Because retreating the knight with something like knight to e4 would see a lot of white's advantage disappear. Instead, the right way to think here is to answer this threat with a threat of your own via d5. This is very strong, because now if the white knight is taken, well, white gets to take this knight, and the opening of the h-file has clearly benefited white's attacking chances. If, however, black captures on d5, then we get to see the point of this lesson, which is that white has now opened an extra attacking line which didn't exist before. Now there's this diagonal attacking line to go with the chance of opening up the h-file. So I think the most realistic move for black to play here is king to h8, and then knight to h4 with the threat of knight takes g6, and black's position is collapsing. Notice that this knight is still on g5, ready to be captured, but black can't take it because actually now knight takes g6 would result in checkmate. The opening of the h-file actually benefits white, so white is actually asking black to open the h-file for them by capturing the knight on g5. Very important attacking concept here. If white just attacks along the h-file in a situation like this, like the alternative plan, let's say bringing rooks over here, attacking on this one file which is semi-open, then I think black can defend. But it's with the additional opening of the second line of attack where white's attack becomes overwhelming. I know that most of my viewers are just going to want to watch the free videos which I release on YouTube. But for a small number of dedicated adult improvers, there is the chance to work with me through the Road to 2000 Chess Mentorship Program, which you can check out by clicking the link in the description below. Some of my students have had amazing results recently. For example, one student went from 900 to over 1200 in just 8 weeks. If you'd like results like that for yourself, then check out the link in the description below. We can jump on a call and see if this program is right for you. Rule number 6, every tempo matters in sharp positions. To illustrate this, we've got a position from Krogius versus Naimala, 1934. It's white to move here, and again, we can reinforce some of the concepts which we've introduced earlier in the video. The white rook is under attack, and if white spends a move retreating it, then it's going to give black time to consolidate, which is why in the game white left the rook where it was and instead played king to f2. Now, in the game, black didn't take the rook, but let's see what happens if black did take the rook. Well, then queen to h1 would follow, and then after king to g8, the white queen comes into h6, and there's not really any stopping rook to h1, followed by checkmate on either h7 or h8. So, in the game, black didn't take the rook. Black instead played f6, trying to create an escape square. Black just resigned because there's no stopping the checkmating threat anyway. I think if there's one thing to take away from this entire video, it's this mindset, that when you've got a piece under attack in an extremely sharp position like this one, consider leaving it where it is and creating your own threats. Just this way of thinking can help you see more and find more decisive combinations. Now, as much as we might like to attack in every single game, the truth is sometimes we need to defend as well. So in this video I share 6 defensive chess patterns which you can use to become a more well-rounded chess player. Check out the video, I really think it'll help improve your results.